Tonight's story is from the Grimm's Fairy Tales. It's called The Straw, the Coal, and the Bean. In a village, there lived an old woman who one day gathered some beans from her garden to cook for her dinner. She had a good fire on the hearth, but to make it burn more quickly, she threw on a handful of straw. As she threw the beans into the pot to boil, one of them fell on the floor. Unobserved by the old woman, and not far from a wisp of straw which was laying there, suddenly a glowing coal bounced out of the fire and fell close to them. They both started away, afraid of being burned, and exclaimed, "Dear friend, don't come anywhere near me till you are cooler. Whatever brings you out of here." "Oh," replied the coal, "the heat luckily made me so strong that I was able to bounce out of the fire. If I had not, my death would have been certain, and I should have been burned to ashes by this time. I've also escaped with a whole skin," said the bean, "for had the old woman put me in the pot with my comrades, I should have been boiled to broth." "I might have shared the same fate," said the straw, "for all my brothers were pushed into the fire and smoked by the old woman. She packed 60 of us in a bundle and brought us in here to take away our lives, but luckily I contrived to slip through her fingers." "I think," suggested the bean, "as we have been so fortunate as to escape death, we may as well be companions and travel away together to some friendly country." They started immediately on their journey together. After traveling a little distance, they came to a stream over which there was no bridge of any sort. Then the straw took courage and said, "I will lay myself across the stream so you can step over me." So the straw stretched himself from one shore to the other, and the coal, who from his nature it is rather hot-headed, tripped out quite boldly on the newly built bridge. But when he reached the middle of the stream and heard the water rushing under him, he was so alarmed that he stood still and dared not move a step farther. Sad were the consequences, for the straw, being slightly scorched in the middle by the heat still in the coal, broke into pieces from its weight and fell into the brook. The coal, with a hiss, slid after him. The bean, who had cautiously remained behind on the shore, could not contain herself when she saw what had happened, and laughed so heartily that she burst. Now she would have been in a worse plight than her comrades, but as good luck would have it, a tailor who was out on his travels came to rest by the brook and noticed the bean. He was a kind-hearted man, so he took a needle and thread out of his pocket, and taking up the bean, sewed her together. She thanked him very much, but unfortunately he had only black thread to sew with, and as a result, since that time, all beans now have a black mark on them. The end. Thank you so much for listening. Good night and sleep tight.